This is CNBC Reports. At the end of the day, your first look at tomorrow.
Now to the jeopardy Ruth Madoff's in from prosecutors as they try and seize all the assets in her name and potentially try to seize her freedom. Michael Ramos is a former federal prosecutor, now managing director at Nardello & Company and an expert on tracing assets. Mr. Nardello, take us through right now. I'm sorry, Mr. Ramos, take us through right now. What is going on? What is the actual process of finding and turning up these assets?
Well, right now the government is in the driver's seat. Unlike my situation in private practice, where you really have to try to use a bunch of different sources to try to figure out where the assets are, the government is in the position of having access to all of Mr. Madoff's offices, all of Mr. Madoff's accounts, all of Mr. Madoff's books and records, and also access to his employees. And I think what's going to happen over the coming weeks and months is the government is going to be able to develop an idea and a picture of Mr. Madoff's assets. And additionally, the government has the wonderful power of subpoena. So they're going to be going through banks, through financial institutions, subpoenaing them and trying to get a handle on where the assets are, who controls them now, and then figuring out how they can get their hands on them.
Mr. Randall, here's what I don't get. I can understand how it would be very difficult to track down all these assets, offshore accounts, who knows where they all went. But is it that hard to really track down where Ruth got her money from? I mean, shouldn't that be much easier? Where her $70 million, does that $70 million belong to her? It seems like that should actually be a fairly simple process.
No, it's not going to be that complicated. I think the issue is going to be, assets that she controls or has controlled, which came from her husband. Where are they now? And I think that's going to be the big question over time.
Mr. Ramos, what percentage of the time when you see a business situation where they are transferring assets into a spouse's name and then trouble comes a short trip down the road, what percentage of the time is there usually guilt associated with that?
It depends. I mean, there's no real percentage here. I think, though, in a situation like this where the fraud is so massive, I think it's going to be it's going to be very tough for Ruth Madoff to deny that she had any knowledge of what was going on in these tremendous transfer of assets.
Yeah, I just once again, as a guy who has been married twice unsuccessfully, there's no reason to ever start putting assets in somebody else's name unless you were running from something. Is that fair to say, Jimmy P?
I mean, come on. What is your gut? I mean, Mr. Ramos, what does your gut tell you about this? I mean.
There's something to me that seems even more sinister about her than him. I don't know what it is. Okay, wrap it up. Michael, thank you so much. Up next.
Thank you.